Alright guys, welcome back to another installment of What Followed Me Home. So, these two guys right here were actually free. You know, scrolling on Marketplace during my morning poop this morning and come across two Broncos. All the ad said was, 2 Broncos, free, U-Haul. I'm like, well, that sounds too good to be true. So I messaged a guy, I looked, and sure enough, they were posted about an hour before I seen it. They were posted, and I thought to myself, oh, an hour, that's a long time. A Marketplace or something free, they're probably long gone. Well, then all of a sudden about 10:30 rolls around or so, and ding, I get a message. Yep, they're free, come get them. Said, I'm on my way. So we went and picked these up. Neither of them were running there. We winched them up on the trailer, brought them right home. Figured I'd let the guy, have his life, not bother him too much. So we pulled them up on the trailer, brought them home. This one, threw a battery in it, cranked really slow, so changed the starter, put a different starter on it, and it fired up. The keys messed up and the shifter's messed up, but it runs, and it no brakes and leaking gas lines, but whatever, it runs. So we don't care about him right now. This one, same thing, threw a battery in it, hit the key, it went clunk. Uh-oh. So I come out, jump the solenoid, clunk. Ooh, that's not good. Go and grab the 1/2-inch ratchet, put it on the crank, and nothing. Reverse. Nothing. Oh boy. So that led to me thinking, is it sat up, or is it frozen from sitting? Or is it frozen because somebody rotted the piss out of it and seized her up? So what I started doing, I'll come over here, I started pulling the spark plugs out. And this guy right here, which I believe was number 1, she's pretty rusty. And then I believe this was 2, or in order here, not the firing order, but second one I pulled out, not too bad. Another one with a little bit of rust on it. And that one's pretty good. So we got 2 cylinders with rust in them on this side for sure. Pulled them out, pumped it full of PB Blaster. Now I'm going to pull that side out, do the same thing. We're going to let it sit overnight, and then I'll get back to you tomorrow and see if there's any change. So here we go. Alright, y'all, so it's the next night. I just got home and had the cylinder soaking all night. Went underneath there when I got it home from work, gave it a torque on it, and it moved just a little bit. So I wiggled it back and forth a little bit, but then I had to go do some other stuff. So I just got home not that long ago and decided to go back after it again. And back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Finally got a little bit more out of it. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Got a little more out of it. Kept on doing that. And finally got a full rotation. But now, every once in a while, there's a hard spot. So I think what's happened is I think I got some valves hanging open. So I'm going to keep cranking it around. And basically, I think the piston's pushing the valve back up again. So, that's good for it. But I'm going to keep going and doing that. See if I can't get her to do some easy full rotations. And then I guess we can clean up the plugs, throw them back in, fix some plug wires, and maybe see if we can get it to start. But yeah, I'm going to keep working away at this for a little while, and I'll update you when I got something to update you with. Alright, got her pretty well freed up by hand, threw a battery in it, and she whirls over pretty good. No weird clunking noises. Hopefully that got a little bit of oil pressure up to the top end. Maybe get a little oil drizzled over them valves. Yeah, so it is like late dark 30 on a school night. So I'm not going to do any more tonight after work. Tomorrow I think we'll try and get her fired up. Wish me luck. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, it's a few days later. Got the plugs all back in it and went to go try and start it. It whips over fine. Sprayed a little ether in there, had nothing, so I checked spark. We have a no spark issue. So on these late 80s, early 90s Ford ignition systems, they're kind of, in my opinion, I don't like them a whole lot. They're kind of overcomplicated, I think, compared to the GMs. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I diagnosed it. First thing I did, got my spark tester, put it here on the middle plug for the coil. Had no spark here. Get back on there. No spark here. So then I went over and checked it on the coil side. No spark at the coil. Pulled the plug off the coil. I believe this side is ground and tack, or it's ground signal from here which also triggers attack. And the other side is power, 12 volt power. So I checked that, had 12 volt power there, and did not have any signal on the ground. But we swapped the coil out just to try it because I had one here. Threw it on there, that wasn't a problem. So then that brings me to this module down here. I pulled the wiring loom apart just to check everything because there were some green connections, but they weren't anything pertaining to the ignition. So then that pointed the finger at this module here. Now it could either be the module or it could be the pickup and the distributor. There's plenty of stuff online on how to do this. Most of the time I would say don't strip these wires back like I did, because then it's going to create a corrosion spot. But there's a free shipbox Bronco, so I didn't really feel like trying to dick around with prying or poking inside of here. So the way to check if it's the module that's not working or the pickup and the distributor, first you want to verify that this bottom plug here, you want to verify that this has ground. This should be constant ground. And then I believe it's this guy right here, number 1, should be 12 volt key, I believe. Again, don't quote me. I have to look back at the diagram. You can find diagrams all over the place for this. But essentially, whichever one's 12 volt key, check for 12 volt power. Actually, it might be this guy. I think it's this guy. It's 12 volt power. And then this one right here is your pickup signal to coil. And the way to test that, make sure you got your ground, 12 volt power. We have both of those. So then to check the pickup and the in here, to make sure it's sending the signal to the coil, you make sure that's plugged in, and then you take a LED light. Oh, there's a little bit of battery acid spilled on the top here, and it's grounding through it. Anyway, take your LED light, clamp it on here onto your positive terminal, and then the other wire, or other side of your wire, this was twisted onto there. Your other side, you're going to take it and you're going to come over here, and you're going to wrap it around this. And then, or I misspoke before. This is not signal to coil. This is your pickup signal. One of these would be signal to coil. So anyway, you wrap that wire around here, plug it into there, and then you have somebody crank it over, and you watch your LED light. When it's cranking over, if the light flashes, that means the pickup in here is signaling for the module to signal the coil. If the light is not flashing, that means your pickup's not working. If the light is flashing, that means this module is not doing its job. So now that I've diagnosed that, it was flashing, pickup and the distributor is working, module is bad. These modules are pretty common to go out. Basically on these 80s Fords, if it wasn't this that made it not start, it was your fuel pump, and that was pretty much it. Everything else seemed to work, but it just, again, seems way overcomplicated for what it needs to be. So I went to Napa, got a new module, because they were the only ones that had one in stock. Everybody else was like 3 or 4 days out, and everywhere the cheapest one was $80 for this little guy. So yeah, that's why I would go through and actually physically diagnose it, because you don't want to just load the parts can and throw 80 bucks at it and have it not be the problem. So yeah, now we're gonna go about switching it. The procedure for changing this, because, you know, in Ford and all their wisdom, they put the module right next to the water neck. And in order to get at this, we're going to pull the hold down off for the distributor. We're going to turn the distributor, and then it's 2 recessed screw or bolts in here. I think they're like 5 mil, but I'll have to double check. But there's 2 countersunk, like recessed inside of here bolts that are a pain to get to, and hopefully you don't break them off. But yeah, we're going to try and get them screws out. Or sorry, we're going to turn this, get them screws out, get this changed, and then put it back. I'll probably make a mark so I can just put it back exactly where it was and not have to worry about setting the timing and all that again. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'll get back to you. Alright guys, I got the module off. So it was a pain in the ass. I forgot that even though you can turn this, the module hits the AC bracket. You can't quite get enough out of it, and it's a pain in the ass to get past the water neck for that back hole. But here's the screws. 7/32 socket works. They're 5.5. I didn't have one of those, so that works. But what I had to do, they used a deep well. For this one, you can get at just fine, no problems. Now, the inside one, the deep well, hits that little boss here on the water neck. So I took a shorty and I ground the hump back further, and that fit in there. However, I think this is telling me some story here. So the back bolt was loose. It was only threaded in like 2 threads. And I believe this is the original. You know, it's a Motorcraft. It's pretty old and crusty looking. I believe this is the original module to this. So I'm going to say somebody started to try changing this. Probably didn't turn the distributor because that looked pretty well undisturbed. Got the top bolt out, or didn't even attempt the top bolt. Got this one, started getting it loose, couldn't get it anymore, and got fed up with it and parked it. So I'm going to say that this was parked because of the no spark issue. Somebody messed with it. Didn't get very far because the coil was also newer. Here's the one that came off of it. Like that's been changed before. So I'm going to say that it was parked because of a no spark issue, and it sat, and that's why the engine was locked up. So that actually gives me hope that it's just rust ridges in the cylinders, and there's not any like actual internal damage with this motor. So I'm going to say if we can get it to have spark, this motor will probably run. It's going to be probably a little smoky now after the you know, rust ridges, but it might come back around. So yeah, let's get this put back together and maybe see if we got spark. Alright, got her all installed back up. Lined up my little paint mark there that I made, tightened her back down, plugged everything back in, and now when I crank it over, I've got spark. So now I'm going to see if I can make it run. I'm going to dick with it a little bit, see if I can get it to run, and then I will update you guys. Alright, I got her running. She's got a little valve clatter going on, and definitely smoking. But yeah, we'll see if she comes up to temp and comes around or not. Alright, it's been running for like probably 2 or 3 minutes now. Valve clatter is really starting to quiet down. So that valve back there that I was pretty sure was stuck when we were rolling it over with the ratchet, that must be starting to work its way up. I'm going to say there's probably a good safe bet that there's a mouse nest in the exhaust, because she's smoking good. Oh, look at that cool little ring there. Went and looked in the dash. The oil pressure's on the lower side, but you know, kind of to be expected. I'm sure the oil in here probably is not real viscous. Also, she's got some blow by, but whatever. It was just seized up not a couple days ago. Yeah, and the battery light was on, but I figured that out already. It's this corroded, busted wire over here. That's the charge wire from the alternator. But yeah, other than that, it has oil pressure. Not a lot of it, but it has oil pressure. Motor's starting to quiet down. It doesn't stop jumping and shaking around real bad. I think tomorrow I'm gonna put some of this back together and probably fix that wire, and then we can unload these. We should be able to drive 2 free Broncos off the trailer. Not too bad. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, here we go. First one driving itself off. Don't even sound too bad today. Hey guys, here we go. We're going to try backing off number 2. It's got a gas leak and no brakes, so we'll hope for the best. Okay. You're just going to have to send it. Go to drive before you go to park again. Here he goes. Crank that way. Perfect. There we go. 2 free Broncos running and driving. Alright, so there we go. Both of them drove up here. This one needs some wiring work, and that's pretty much it to make it drive down the road and put the ignition back together again. So I think this one's going to be my winter beater this year. And this one here, I've actually gifted to my brother so that he can come with us to Apple Valley and, you know, roll it down a hill or something. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more shenanigans like this.